All right. This is the debriefing for Standard 9, Professional Learning and Ethical Practice. So the beginning of the assignment talks about how you're keeping up your professional learning and your ethical practice. Well, the first part, I am taking this course and studying pretty hard to finish the praxis test. So my professional learning is always continuing, and I've also finished my master's degree as well. So let's try and break down the standard piece by piece. So the first part talks about professional learning experiences. So it says the candidate actively engages meaningful and appropriate professional learning experiences aligned with the needs of the learners in the school. So basically, really quickly, I didn't do a video that showed me collaborating with, it says here, I could have done a video that could demonstrate how I use data to evaluate outcomes, responsibility of learning, to demonstrate that you understand the effect of your choices. I chose to do a video of me teaching. It's pretty tough. There's not much collaboration that goes on in the school. It's a difficult thing to get video footage of that. So during my class, I tried to hit on all the different parts of the standard. So the first one, talking about different learning experiences aligned with the needs of learners. You're going to see in the class that I broke it down into doing some book work. Then we did some vocabulary instruction where they repeat the word after me and they get a definition of the word, and then I get the students to take turns using the words in another sentence. Then I get them to do some self-study. Then I have them do a pre-test, and then they evaluate each other. They group mark each other. Then they teach each other their mistakes, and then I think we end up having the final test the next class after that. So lots of different experiences in that class. Next, use of data to evaluate outcomes. That was done simply by paying attention to the students while we're doing, when I'm asking them to use the vocabulary word in another sentence. You can tell where your students are, which ones are struggling. Also, when they did their pre-test, I asked them to put their mark out of 10, so I could see where everyone was, and see what students were struggling. So yeah, those were a few areas where I could use data to evaluate, especially with their pre-tests and their actual tests. You can sum up really quickly where your students are. Next, the responsibility for learning. Candidate takes the responsibility for students learning at high levels by using ongoing analysis and reflection on our learning at deeper level. What I did for this was the students that were at the highest level, I let them teach the students that I paired them purposely with students that were at a lower level, and had them quiz them and teach them on how to say it properly and tricks and how to remember it, the words and how they are spelled. So I had higher levels with lower level students, teaching them and tutoring them on how to learn the material. And then the next one was understanding of cultural, ethnic, gender, and learning differences. There were a few, with the school being religious, there was a few things that were in the book, and I think you'll see in the lesson where I kind of go with what their beliefs are, and I take caution there not to to cause discomfort with the students and saying things that maybe go against their culture or their beliefs. So there was some care taken there. And the last one, professional ethics, standards, and laws. This is just you know, what that means to me is just be a good teacher. Like, teach well. Don't, you know, do things that are gonna cross lines, especially with ethics, standards, and laws. They're pretty easy to understand, and you know, there are some gray areas in this country though, with because I've seen some homeroom teachers do things that are probably would be never allowed to be done in in North America with, but it's gotten a lot better here, and yeah, it's just obvious. That to me is just obvious. So yeah, those are the ways that I tried to use my class to incorporate all the parts of this standard. And then we were going to talk about report cards.
Yeah, just maybe talking about some of these rubric points in a broader view. The collaboration, we just finished doing report cards, which required communication with the co-teacher.
Sure, that's right. Yeah, that did for sure. Yeah.
And back to the ethics thing, being able to teach here long term, taking in those considerations, kind of balancing that North American style teaching with the Korean style.
Sure, yeah, it's different. Yeah.
So I think a lot of these points you've shown very clearly just throughout. The classes that we've had, so
it's getting more difficult. Like trying to bring in like administrators and collaboration, because it does happen, and luckily with the report cards that's something that did happen recently, but it rarely it's you know, you do your own thing, sort of type thing.
I think even there's a part there that talks about deeper learning for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you've mentioned a couple times in our talks how doing this program has kind of changed your view of teaching, like seeing it as more of a maybe of a craft, or seeing the little scientific parts of it, putting it together. So I think that's been a big change for you as well.
Yeah, just it's kind of seems like it's all coming together at the end as well, with the way the standards are laid out. It seems like what we've learned in the previous standards are, you know, really starting to, you know, show up in the later ones. All right, I think that's about it.
I think that's it for this one.
Yeah. All right. Good.